What is faith? What is faith? That's the subject that we'd like to talk about on this station at this time each morning for the next number of weeks. What really is faith? One little boy in Sunday school was asked that question, and quick as a flash he replied, "Believing something you know isn't true. That's faith. Believing something you know isn't true." And I don't know what you feel about it, but I often thought that that was what faith was. It's believing something that you know with your mind isn't true. It's some kind of overdrive that you push in with a button of some kind in your mind or your emotions or somewhere, as they say, down in your heart, to get you to accept something that you know with your intellect could not possibly be true. And so many of us, I think, in this world today, are skeptical of the whole idea of faith, because we think of it as something not connected with the ordinary processes of the mind at all, and actually opposed to the convictions of the intellect. And so many of us who have been through some kind of education, and especially some kind of scientific education, get the idea that to have faith, you have to in some way close up your mind, or in some way put your intellect to sleep, or in some way ignore the conclusions of science and conclusions of research. That's absolutely ridiculous. Faith is not that kind of an irrational thing at all. Faith, in fact, is something that you and I exercise every day in our lives, and we've exercised it from the very moment we were born. I suppose it's true that our mother even encouraged us to feel that we could trust her when we lay in her arms, and we learned day by day that that was true, that she would not drop us, that she was reliable, and that we could put our faith in her arms. And so as we grew up and came to the age of 2 or 3 or 4-year-old, and our mum would ask us to jump from one chair into her arms, we would jump, because we would feel, yes, we can put our faith in her, because she has never let us fall before. And every time we've observed her, every time we've experienced the stability and the safety of her arms, we have not been disappointed. And so we learned to put our faith in her. It was the same when we began to ride on a bicycle. We started to find out that the bicycle would carry our weight. Then, as our dad taught us to ride the 2-wheeled bicycle and to balance, we found that it was possible, amazing though it was, to push the bicycle along on the ground in such a way that we could stay up, even though it had only 2 wheels. And we began to put our faith in the bicycle and in our ability to ride it and to stay up all the time. And so in all of our life, we have gradually come to put our faith in all kinds of things. If I ask you, would you put your faith in that chair that is sitting opposite to you in your office or in your home, you'll probably reply to me, "That chair? Yes, I would put my faith in that. That is, I would gladly go over and sit on that chair, because I have observed it holding other people. It has held me myself on many occasions, and sure, I'm prepared to bet my life on the strength of that chair." It's so in the car this morning. If you're sitting in your automobile and you're in rush hour traffic, and you see the guy's lights in front of you, or the woman's lights in front of you, brighten up, you put your faith in the fact that that car in front of you is going to slow up, and you immediately move your foot from your accelerator over to your brake, because you put your faith in the stoplight of the car in front of you working properly. Now, sometimes, of course, it is not working properly, and sometimes it fails to work, and you find that you're in real trouble at that moment. But even that failure of the mechanism is proof that you actually do normally live by faith in that mechanism working efficiently. And so it is in all kinds of situations. You lift the phone when you hear the phone ringing, and you're absolutely certain that you'll hear somebody speak on the other side of it. It's the same when you hear the doorbell sounding. You're pretty certain that when you go to that door and open it, you have faith that there'll be someone standing on the other side. And so it is in all kinds of more important and vital matters. In connection with your bank account, you have absolute faith that when you write a check out and send it to a certain person, your bank will forward to them the necessary amount of money, as long as it's in your account. And you put faith in your bank to do that. Then we have all kinds of complicated expressions of faith when you get to the stock exchange floor, or you get to the buying of stocks and shares, or you get to the grain market in Chicago or in Minneapolis, and you find that all kinds of massive purchases of stocks and shares and interests in companies and investments are made simply on the word of one man, often on the wild waving of the hand of some man on the stock exchange floor. And they shake the hand, and that's the deal done. And often even thousands, and perhaps on some occasions even millions of dollars change hands because they put faith in the shake of the other person's hand, or they put faith in what the other person has said is going to happen. So it is, of course, every time we step into a plane. We put faith in that incredible theory of aerodynamics that assures us that all that mass of metal is going to lift into the air and going to even on occasion cross thousands of miles of ocean and land us safely in another country. Even though to our ordinary eyes and to our ordinary intellect, we cannot understand why that plane could possibly rise off the ground like that. And yet we put our faith in it because we've seen it happen again and again. And so it goes on throughout all of our life. We'll often allow ourselves to be put to sleep by some stranger in a hospital because we'll have absolute faith in what that hospital has done with other people, what we have seen other hospitals do even with our own relatives, what we have seen doctors do and surgeons. We'll put our faith in a great many unknown people and unknown events and unknown techniques simply because we have observed in the past and we have good ground for putting our faith in those things. And so, really, in the ordinary everyday life, we exercise faith 1,000 times a day. We breathe because we put our faith in the fact that the air is clean enough to breathe and is not filled with poison gas. We come home and we eat our supper at night because we put our faith in our wife not poisoning us, and in the fact that she is going to give us food that will be nourishing and give us strength in our bodies to live the next day. So in all kinds of manifold situations, we put our faith again and again in people, in things, in events, in techniques, in strategies, in processes that actually on many occasions we have not tried before, but we have observed other people trying them. So when we think of faith, let's not think of something strange and superstitious. Let's not think of something religious or something non-rational. Let's see that faith is something that we practice every day in our lives.